Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Munun Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India bids farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jet in a grand ceremony. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hails it as a testimony of India-Russia relations. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar joins G4 counterparts at UNGA, reaffirms push for UN Security Council reforms. EAM also attends G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New York. At an Asia Cup, India to face Sri Lanka in Super 4. Last game today in Dubai. Men in blue set to face Pakistan in mega clash in final on Sunday.
Many cities in India still carry forward the wonderful legacy of a glorious past. These ancient cities were once center for power, culture and religion. Revisit them in our special series. Forever Cities starts with Patliputra on Friday, 26th September at 8:30 p.m. IST.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar participated in the G4 Foreign Ministers meeting held in New York alongside his counterparts from Japan, Germany and Brazil. The ministers reiterated their long-standing demand for comprehensive reform of the United Nations, particularly the UN Security Council. Dr. Jaishankar in a post on X said, and I quote, "Glad to join the G4 Foreign Ministers meeting along with colleagues Takeshi Iwaya, Johan Wadefull and Mauro Vieira in New York today." G4 reiterated its commitment to reforming the United Nations, including the UN Security Council. It also assessed the current state of the intergovernmental negotiation IGN process, unquote. Earlier, Dr. S. Jaishankar called for zero tolerance towards terrorism and urged the international community to avoid any form of accommodation or indifference to terrorist activities.
A persistent threat to development is that perennial disruptor of peace, terrorism. It is imperative that the world display neither tolerance nor accommodation to terrorist activities. Given the extensive networking among terrorists, those who act against them on any front actually render a larger service to the international community as a whole.
Speaking at the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New York on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Dr. Jaishankar referred to ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. Jaishankar said that such geopolitical tensions directly impact global energy, food and fertilizer security, especially in the global south.
Our focus today is on the correlation between international peace and global development. In recent times, that is well established, as both deteriorated in parallel. The costs, especially to the global south, in terms of energy, food, and fertilizer security were starkly demonstrated by ongoing conflicts, particularly in Ukraine and Gaza. Apart from jeopardizing supplies and logistics, access and costs themselves became pressure points on nations. Double standards are clearly in evidence.
The EAM further said that the global peace and development have seen parallel deterioration in recent times.
Peace can certainly enable development, but by threatening development, we cannot facilitate peace. Making energy and other essentials more uncertain in an economically fragile situation helps no one. Therefore, the way out is to move the needle towards dialogue and diplomacy, not in the opposite direction towards further complications.
US President Donald Trump unveiled sweeping new import tariffs, including 100% duties on branded drugs and 25% levies on heavy-duty trucks, set to come into force next week. The latest salvo, which Trump said was to protect the US manufacturing industry and national security, follows wide-ranging duties on trading partners of up to 50% and other targeted levies on imported products such as steel. It's the latest upheaval for global businesses already struggling with snarled supply chains, soaring costs and consumer uncertainty caused by Trump's trade war. The barrage has cast a pall over global growth, while the Federal Reserve has said it is also contributing to higher US consumer prices. Trump's announcement on Truth Social did not say whether the new levies would be on top of the existing national tariffs. Recent trade deals with Japan, the EU and Britain include provisions that cap tariffs for specific products like pharmaceuticals. US President also said that the United States would give proceeds from tariff revenues to farmers.
And we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers, who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in, the tariffs kick into their benefit. So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape, because we're taking in a lot of money. We're finding, the other day, it was very interesting, they found 31 billion.
Meanwhile, the European Union and Japan expressed confidence on Friday that they had secured limits on US tariffs on pharmaceuticals. The European Commission referred to a joint statement agreed with the United States following its end-July trade deal. It states that the tariff for pharmaceuticals, semiconductors and lumber would not exceed 15%. Japan also referred to its joint statement with Washington, which said that US tariff rates on Japanese semiconductors and pharmaceuticals would not exceed those applied to others, such as the European Union. US President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order to facilitate the sale of China-based TikTok to a group of US investors. Vice President J.D. Vance confirmed that the newly formed US-based entity will be valued at approximately $14 billion. Trump also pushed back the enforcement of the law, which would ban TikTok unless its Chinese owners divest to January 20. The delay gives more time to separate TikTok's US assets from its global platform, secure investors, and obtain Beijing's approval. Trump's order says the algorithm will be retrained and monitored by the US company's security partners, and operation of the algorithm will be under the control of the new joint venture. India has strongly rejected NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte's claim of a phone call between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal clarified that no such conversation ever took place, calling the NATO chief's remarks factually incorrect and baseless.
We have seen statement by NATO Secretary General Mr. Mark Rutte regarding a purported phone conversation between Prime Minister of India and President Vladimir Putin of Russia. This statement, let me clarify, is factually incorrect and entirely baseless. At no point has Prime Minister Modi spoken with President Putin in the manner suggested. No such conversation has taken place. We expect the leadership of an important and esteemed institution like NATO to exercise greater responsibility and accuracy in public statements. Speculative or careless remarks that misrepresent the Prime Minister's engagement or suggest conversations that never occurred are unacceptable.
At least 3 people were reported dead in Philippines' Masbate province as authorities evacuated 400,000 people on Friday after severe tropical storm Bualoi battered the country. The storm made landfall in eastern Samar in central Philippines before crossing into Masbate and sweeping through the Bicol region in southern Luzon at sustained speeds of 110 kilometers per hour. The storm has caused widespread damage in the country, uprooting trees, toppling cable lines, damaging roads and buildings, informed an official in a press meeting. Packed maximum wind speeds of 110 kilometers per hour and gusts rising to 135 kilometers per hour. The storm is forecast to intensify into a typhoon again as it moves towards Vietnam. China's influence on the global economy has been growing for years, much to the detriment of the US and Europe. And now Beijing is putting ever more pressure on countries that have become too dependent. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Lars, there is growing panic over the supply of certain resources. What more can you tell us?
Thanks for having me. Well, from a German perspective, the latest problem sounds almost ironic. We're talking about the chemical element with the atomic number 32 on the periodic table, and it's called germanium. So one might think that Germany, of all places, has a lot of it, but you'd be wrong. Here's the thing. Germanium was first discovered in a mine in the German state of Saxony in the late 19th century, and when a German chemist analyzed it, he gave it the name germanium in honor of its homeland. But Germany doesn't have much of it at all. Most germanium deposits are actually in Mongolia and in China, and global production is absolutely dominated by China, which with that country making up around 83% of world production. Now, much of that has been exported for decades, mostly to the United States and to Europe, but China has now cut down on these exports, sending only small amounts of germanium to Europe and nothing at all to the United States. And that's a direct response to tariffs and other trade obstacles the Trump administration has put on China.
And what are the US and Europe doing now?
Well, in the short run, they're trying to buy up germanium from non-Chinese sources, but that won't get them far because there is simply not enough of it available. Also, it will be considerably more expensive. Prices for Chinese-sourced germanium are much lower than anywhere in the world because the country has so long specialized in mining and production, and it has by far the biggest refining capacities as well. Another solution is recycling. The EU already has its Critical Raw Materials Act on the books that states that by 2030, a full quarter of critical resources will have to be sourced from recycled materials. So taking the germanium out of old night vision goggles, for example. But while a quarter is a good start, it doesn't really cover most of the demand, of course, and experts are saying Europe has a long way to go to even get to that rather modest goal. So right now, Europe is scrambling to find a solution. Market insiders are already saying there is panic buying, so quite some desperation in sourcing this very important element.
Thanks, Lars, for joining us from Berlin. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Indian farmers get yet another installment of PM Kisan that offers income support to small and marginal farmers across India. Indian Air Force bids farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jets. Former Spain and Barcelona captain Sergio Busquets will retire in December.
Many cities in India still carry forward the wonderful legacy of a glorious past. These ancient cities were once center for power, culture and religion. Revisit them in our special series. Forever Cities starts with Patliputra on Friday, 26th September at 8:30 p.m. IST.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. The 21st installment of the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi or PM Kisan scheme was released on Friday by Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan. This installment has been specially prioritized for farmers of Himachal Pradesh, Punjab and Uttarakhand who have been severely affected by recent floods and landslides. In this context, today's release of PM Kisan assumes even greater importance. A total of more than 540 crore rupees has been directly transferred into the bank accounts of over 27 lakh farmers, including around 2.7 lakh women farmers across 3 states. The Indian Air Force on Friday bid farewell to its iconic MiG-21 fighter jets after a service span of 62 years. The final 2 MiG-21 squadrons, the number 23 Panthers and the number 3 Cobras, which together operated around 36 jets, retired in Chandigarh during a decommissioning ceremony. The MiG-21 fighter jet received a ceremonial water cannon, marking a symbolic end to its 6-decade-long tenure. The fact that the Soviet-era fighter, with its checkered history, has remained in service for so long is testimony to its enduring capabilities in front line of the Air Force. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attended the event and paid tribute to the aircraft's legacy. In his address, the minister lauded the MiG-21's countless heroic feats during multiple conflicts and operations.
इतने लंबे समय तक MiG-21 अनेक वीरतापूर्ण कृत्यों का साक्षी रहा है। इसका योगदान किसी एक घटना तक या केवल एक युद्ध तक सीमित नहीं रहा है। 1971 के वार से लेकर कारगिल के युद्ध तक या फिर बालाकोट एयर स्ट्राइक से लेकर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर तक ऐसा कोई क्षण नहीं रहा जब MiG-21 ने हमारी आर्म फोर्सेस को जबरदस्त मजबूती न प्रदान की हो।
The minister also said that the MiG-21 is not only an aircraft or machine but also proof of deep India-Russia ties.
MiG-21 केवल एक एयरक्राफ्ट या मशीन भर ही नहीं है, बल्कि यह भारत और रशिया के बीच गहरे संबंधों का एक प्रमाण भी है। साथियों, एक तरफ तो मिलिट्री एविएशन का खुद का जो इतिहास है वह अपने आप में इनक्रेडिबल है ही, दूसरी तरफ MiG-21 ने मिलिट्री एविएशन की जर्नी में कई और प्राउड मोमेंट्स यानी गौरव के क्षण जोड़े हैं।
In a historic final flight, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh took to the skies in the last MiG-21 sortie, flying with the call sign Badal 3. The aircraft belonged to number 23 Squadron, famously known as the Panthers. The Indian Air Force marked the end of an era on Friday, bidding farewell to the iconic MiG-21 fighter jets in Chandigarh. On this momentous occasion, our correspondent Vishal Baristo spoke with retired Air Commodore Surendra Singh Tyagi, a decorated war veteran who set a world record flying the MiG-21 and played a key role in India's victory in the 1971 war with Pakistan. Take a look.
It's a historic day and at the same time quite emotional for the man who holds the world record with MiG-21. Yes, I'm talking about Air Commodore Surendra Tyagi. He's retired from the Air Force, but the memories are still fresh. So let's start off with the 1971 Pakistan War, and MiG-21 holds the credentials for a decisive war against Pakistan.
Oh, indeed. If one can sum it up, East Pakistan becoming Bangladesh is absolutely largely due to the action of MiG-21 aircraft during that war. We demolished their runways so that their aircraft couldn't take off and interfere with our military. And we demolished any other operational bases of thing which they had, including a runway which they wanted to use for aircraft coming from Rangoon to pick up General Niazi and Governor and take them away. But we saw that lights coming and we went there. Next morning, 4 bombs. So they said, don't come, everything is gone. And then, of course, Governor House strike, which demolished the conference hall. And they raised their hand and they said, okay, we surrender. Now we can't continue anymore.
So from 65 to the Balakot, MiG-21 has it all. If you have to decide on one moment what would it be?
Difficult for me to say which one moment, because it's a very long career. 28 years is a very large time. But I can only say that wherever MiG-21 was asked to perform any role, operational role, it has excelled and it is done better than what was expected out of it. Whether it was 65 war, whether it was 71 war, whether it was Balakot, or even Op Sindoor.
So there you hear from the man who holds a world record. He has also the distinction of training the highest number of pilots as far as MiG-21 is concerned. With cameraman Vish Bandhu in Chandigarh, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Let's now take a look at some other stories making news today. As part of the Swachhata Hi Seva 2025, a Safai Mitra Suraksha Shivir and awareness program was held at Department of Telecommunications headquarters on Friday. Over 101 housekeeping and sanitary staff received safety and first aid kits, reaffirming the department's commitment to their well-being and dignity. Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve in Assam has reopened the Bagori range for tourists, promoting ecotourism and allowing visitors to experience its diverse wildlife, including the iconic one-horned rhinoceros. This initiative also aids the local communities and conservation efforts. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath transferred 89.96 crore rupees worth scholarship to 3.96 lakh students during a program in Lucknow on Friday. He praised the centre's new education policy and announced the One Nation, One Scholarship system to simplify and unify scholarship access nationwide. Jamnagar in Gujarat lit up with a breathtaking swastik ras during Navratri celebrations. Thousands of devotees formed the glowing swastik pattern with lamps and joined in the grand Garba festivities, showcasing vibrant culture and devotion. On to sports news now. A dominant India will aim to continue their unbeaten run when they take on Sri Lanka in a dead rubber Super 4 encounter in the Asia Cup on Friday. The match also gives the men in blue a low-pressure opportunity to rest some of the senior members, including pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah, ahead of Sunday's summit clash. Already qualified, India will take on arch-rival Pakistan in the final of the Asia Cup on Sunday after Pakistan sealed the final spot by defeating Bangladesh by 11 runs in the Super 4 clash on Thursday. India and Pakistan will face each other in the final of the Asia Cup for the first time ever in the 41-year-long history of the tournament. The 64th Subrata Cup concluded in New Delhi's Dr. Ambedkar with a thrilling final. Farooq Higher Secondary School from Kerala scripted history as they clinched the junior boys title, defeating Amenity Public School in a thrilling final. In an exclusive conversation with DD India correspondent Mehraj Singh, coach of Amenity Public School Manoj Joshi highlighted Subrata Cup's rich legacy and how the tournament helps nurture young footballing talent of India.
We are at the Dr. Ambedkar Stadium where the final of the 64th edition of Subrata Cup is taking place, and we have with us the coach of the CBSE team, Amenity Public School, Mr. Manoj Joshi. Your team has reached the final. How has this tournament been so far for you? How is the lead up to the final been?
First of all, I really want to congratulate all the organizers of this fantastic tournament. It's a dream of every young boy and girl to just be the part of this tournament. And in the gallery of young boys and girls, it's highly rated, this tournament. So yes, the journey was really tough because we qualified for the pre-Subrata first and then zonals, and then we reached here. And through this journey, when we reached to Delhi, there were some really good quality teams. We beat them, and then we reached the final. So it was all hard work.
So as you said about how this tournament gives platform to young sporting talent of India, and if we talk about Kerala as well, they reached the final after almost a decade. So how do you think this tournament helps nurture and identify young sporting talent in India?
See, as you said, Kerala is one of the mecca of Indian football. I really admire, the contribution of, Kerala players and then the contribution of Northeast players. So yes, it is the dream of every young player to just be here, play here, and luckily, we got some good, opportunities in this tournament just to play some of the best teams across.
So as Manoj said that how this tournament is not only a showcase of skill and passion of young players, but also it highlights how deep the Indian sporting talent is. With cameraman Rajkumar Singh, this is Meher Raj Singh for DD India, Delhi.
Barcelona captain Sergio Busquets is set to retire in December. He will retire from playing at the end of the Major League Soccer season. And the Inter Miami midfielder won 32 major honours in 18 years at Barcelona, including 9 La Liga titles and 3 Champions Leagues. Busquets joined Inter Miami in 2023, linking up with former Barca teammates Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba and Luis Suarez. That's it then in this edition of DD India Live. But do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. That's it then. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.